I asked you guys what your favorite tournament arc in anime was, and today I'm going to be ranking your answers on my own personal tier list. If you want to participate in a future one of these videos and potentially get your name shouted out next time around, make sure to subscribe down below and keep an eye out for posts on our community tab. My name is Hoodie Song, this is Kato, and let's jump into it. Tournament arcs are a staple of the shonen formula and often make up the most exciting segments of your favorite stories. It's a structure that allows for unique challenges and creative applications of cool powers. It also tends to provide an avenue for solo combat between people who would not normally have the opportunity to fight each other. For example, Hinata and Neji from Naruto both come from the same family and work towards the same goal as members of the Leaf Village. In order to orchestrate an earnest fight between these two within the canonical story, Kishimoto would have to construct an entire arc of interpersonal drama and conflict for characters that don't really deserve that much screen time. With a good tournament arc, you get a shortcut to not only that one matchup, but a dozen just like it, making it a really efficient way to introduce new characters and bring about fan favorite matchups. The art of the tournament arc has evolved from generation to generation, and even today we see new shonen anime try to innovate the structure and bring a unique twist to the old staple. But with nearly 1,000 votes and about 50% of the entire poll, it's clear that many anime fans believe the idea peaked in the early 2000s with Naruto's tuning exams. But interestingly enough, out of all of the comments we received, not a single person actually defended the tuning exams as the #1 pick. Naruto really is the Goliath here. It's the overall favorite, and no one really feels the need to go to bat for something so clearly in the lead. It more than doubles the votes of second place, making it securely the favorite tournament arc among fans. And as someone who agrees with that take and places it into S tier accordingly, allow me to be the brave soldier who fights on behalf of our Naruto overlords. I'm not speaking with any sort of authority here, and I'm far from an anime historian, but from the perspective of an average fan, I do feel like Naruto had the most significant impact on the evolution of the tournament arc. Unlike many of its predecessors who exclusively approached it from the lens of 1v1s, Naruto made the unique addition of multiple different phases, each with unique rules and objectives for victory that provided a narrative that didn't feel so linear and repetitive. Naruto obviously delivered on spectacular 1v1s, but the Forest of Death and the written exam can't be overlooked when it comes to why this arc is so beloved. For those reasons, I do find myself agreeing with the masses and believing that Naruto does in fact have the best tournament arc in all of anime, making it an easy S tier. But before you click away expecting this whole video to just be mild vanilla takes, let me tell you right now there's only one other anime in the S tier for me, and it's almost certainly not the one you're expecting. Speaking of, our #2 most voted on arc in the poll is many people's #1, which is the Dark Tournament arc from Yu Yu Hakusho. Benny Z Entertainment left a comment saying this survey is basically did you watch Yu Yu Hakusho, and based on most of the comments, I think many people agree with this take. Yu Yu Hakusho fans overwhelmingly agree that the Dark Tournament is the #1 arc on this list, if not the best arc in shonen history. If Yu Yu Hakusho were just a slightly more modern anime with more people who have seen it, it's possible that it would overtake Naruto and become the king. That said, for me, this is an A tier tournament arc. I'm a big fan of Yu Yu Hakusho, and obviously I give it the utmost respect as an influential piece of media for anime as a whole. I think the Dark Tournament has some of the highest heights of the anime story. The final fight between Yusuke and Toguro is the best fight in the series, and I think the backstory between him and Genkai is just beautiful to watch. But I think age works for Yu Yu Hakusho as much as it does against it here. Yes, it's true that fewer people have seen the Dark Tournament arc because it's not as modern in anime, but it's also true that this arc is structurally of its time. The entire 40-episode tournament is just 1v1 after 1v1, introducing an endless cast of new characters and often repetitive fights with just a few exceptionally strong highlights mixed in. I'm not disrespecting Hiei's Dragon of the Darkness Flame or Kuwabara's Final Stand, but the 3 dozen other fights in the arc, those are all a little more forgetful. That said, still easily one of the best and not to be forgotten at all. Well deserving of its spot and legacy among fans. Third on the poll, with 10% of the vote, goes to the Sports Festival of My Hero Academia, one of the newer entries in the shonen culture, but massively popular nonetheless. My Hero Academia has started to fade in cultural relevancy, with the newer hits like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen hitting peak zeitgeist, but those first 2 seasons were massive for anime fandom and brought a lot of new viewers into the sphere. Personally speaking, I think the Sports Festival is a great addition to the Hall of Tournament arcs. I don't think it does enough to earn an S tier placement, but it delivers on many of the same unique challenges and phases that the tuning exams did, while still not shying away from an epic 1v1 here and there. I would say it maybe lacks the emotional depth that something like the tuning exams had, but not by a significant margin. If I were being a little more critical, I might place this in the B tier, but for now I think it's a comfortable A tier pick. Now, just behind My Hero Academia, we have the other section of the poll. It's a little hard to tell who deserves what here as far as comments go. Bowties in Anime gives a shout out to the Sinnoh League of Pokemon. Justin Bradley votes for the first Budokai tournament in Dragon Ball. We had a couple mentions for some sports anime like Haikyuu, and even a nomination for Battle City of Yu-Gi-Oh! All valid options, well worth mentioning in their own right. One of the more significant honorable mentions probably goes to Hunter x Hunter, whether that be for the Hunter exam or Heaven's Arena. For me personally, I think Heaven's Arena is a massively underrated arc and tends to be forgotten among Hunter x Hunter fans, but with such steep competition, I can only comfortably give it a B tier placement. As far as the Hunter exam, I find it to probably be the weakest arc in the anime and pretty dragging at times, so if you want to count that as a tournament arc, it'll have to go in the C tier for me. Pasta Worm is the one who brought up the Colosseum section of One Piece's Dressrosa saga, and while it did come to mind for my own personal list, I can't blame anyone for leaving it out of their mentions. It's a very small subsection of a much larger arc and doesn't really deserve too much of a focus among these titans of the medium. I'm a huge fan of One Piece and would probably put it as one of the best anime overall being discussed today, but as far as tournaments go, the Colosseum is nothing more than a C tier pick. And with that out of the way, we've come down to our final member of the poll. Now, if you've paid close attention, then you probably realized I'm about to give my hottest take of the video. Coming in last with only 7% of the vote and multiple comments about it not deserving to even be in the discussion is the Kyoto Goodwill event of Jujutsu Kaisen. And of course, just to get this out of the way, it is my second and final pick for an S tier tournament arc. I really think you guys are sleeping on this one. I think Jujutsu Kaisen is a really great anime, and I think the second half of season 1 is a big highlight of the entire series. I think a vast majority of the characters introduced here are all fantastic and well worth every minute of screen time that they got. There's not a single fight in the arc that I find dragging or skippable, though I definitely think there are some better than others, but you can find that hot take in one of my previous videos. Some people might dock points because they skipped over the traditional 1v1 section, but I personally think the event devolved into a series of unofficial 1v1s anyways, so even if it doesn't have the label, I think the arc still delivers on the essence of the idea. I also think Jujutsu Kaisen deserves a lot of credit for consistently writing such amazing women, many of which find their spotlight within this event. For some people that's not a big deal, but considering how much conversation is had around criticizing shows like Naruto for ruining its cast of women, I think Jujutsu Kaisen has at least earned praise in the opposite direction. I look at characters like Maki and think this genre is making serious, positive strides, and that's something to consider when reviewing this arc. I also think the My Brother gag and made-up flashbacks to non-existent middle school days are absolutely hilarious, and the short baseball scene at the end was right up my alley. It was the perfect breather sequence and just a whole lot of fun. I kinda get why other people don't value this tournament as highly as I do, considering it's very different from the standard shonen playbook, but I found many of its changes to be innovative and a welcome evolution. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Are my ratings completely out of order? Where would you place arcs from Dragon Ball Z or Black Clover? If you enjoyed this content, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe. Before I go, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of the incredible patrons over at patreon.com/KatoYT. We're super active in our patron Discord server, occasionally throwing some late night anime and movie watch parties, so if that's something you're interested in, pledge just a single $1 to get an invite. I also write and produce a couple different webcomics which you can read over on Webtoon Canvas. You can follow the channel's Twitter at KatoBeyond or my personal one at Hoodie_writes. Links to everything will be in the description. Again, my name is Hoodie Song, this is Kato, and thank you for watching.